In 1929, a Turkish naval officer named Halil Edhem was clearing out a dusty storage room in the Topkapi Palace in Istanbul. He almost discarded what he found. It was a fragment of gazelle skin, painted in rich ochre and black ink. Dated 1513, it showed the Atlantic Ocean, both coastlines of South America, Western Africa, accurate enough to impress modern cartographers. But in the southern edge of the map, at the bottom, where the known world was supposed to end, there was a landmass, large, detailed, with bays, inlets, and a mountain range running along its interior. Antarctica was not officially discovered until 1820, with not fully mapped until the 1950s, so why does a map drawn in 1513 show it? The map's creator, Ottoman Admiral Piri Reis, left notes in the margins. He wrote that he compiled the map from 8 Ptolemaic charts, 4 Portuguese maps, and, his words, an Arabic map that dated to the time of Alexander the Great. He did not explain what that Arabic map contained. Nobody has found it since. This isn't a fringe artifact. The Piri Reis map lives in the Topkapi Palace Museum. It has been examined by the Library of Congress, the U.S. Air Force, and multiple university geography departments. Its existence is not disputed. What it shows in the South is, in 1953, a retired American history professor named Charles Hapgood wrote to the Cartographic Division of the U.S. Air Force with a question. He had been studying the map's southern landmass. He wanted to know if the geographic coordinates matched Antarctica. Not the ice-covered surface we see today, but the bedrock terrain beneath, as measured by seismic surveys. The Air Force wrote back, their conclusion, signed by Harold Z. Ohlmeyer of the 8th Reconnaissance Technical Squadron, stated that the southern landmass showed strong correlation with the sub-glacial topography of Queen Maud Land, Antarctica. The correlation, they noted, could not be explained by coincidence of outline. The ice covering that terrain has been there for approximately 6,000 years at minimum. Some estimates push it to 15,000 years. So who mapped it and when? Hapgood spent the next decade building his case. His 1966 book, Maps of the Ancient Sea Kings, laid out a systematic argument that the Piri Reis map, along with several other pre-Renaissance charts, contained geographical data that presupposed a seafaring civilization capable of precision measurement far earlier than current historical timelines allow. He was not a crank. He was a professor at Keene State College in New Hampshire. Carl Sagan corresponded with him. Albert Einstein, in a letter written 2 months before his death in 1955, called Hapgood's broader thesis a theory of rapid crustal displacement of great importance to everything that touches on the history of the Earth's surface. Einstein was praising the geological framework, not the map specifically. That distinction matters, but Hapgood's map analysis rested on something specific and testable, the grid projection. The Piri Reis map is drawn on what appears to be a plane chart with no consistent projection system, typical of 16th century cartography. But when Hapgood's team at Keene State overlaid the southern landmass onto a modern azimuthal equidistant projection centered on Cairo, the coastlines aligned with sub-glacial Antarctica to a degree that demanded explanation. The sub-glacial topography of Queen Maud Land, specifically the Mullig-Hoffman Mountains and the coastal inlets near what we now call Dronning Maud Land, matched features on the Piri Reis map with documented accuracy. Not perfect accuracy, significant accuracy, the kind that can't be hand-waved. One inlet, what Hapgood identified as corresponding to the Lambert-Fisher ice shelf region, appeared on the map as an open bay. The seismic surveys conducted during the International Geophysical Year of 1957-1958 confirmed that under the ice, that bay exists. Piri Reis himself likely had no idea what he was copying. His notes suggest he was a compiler, not an explorer. He was stitching together older sources in Constantinople, working from charts he didn't fully understand, in a projection system he may not have been able to decode, which means if the data is accurate, and that is still a contested if, the knowledge came from somewhere older. Something that doesn't appear in any history we've written. Here is where the story demands more care than most tellings give it. The strongest scientific challenge to Hapgood's analysis came not from dismissal, but from cartographic specificity. Dr. Gregory McIntosh, a professional cartographer who published a rigorous study of the Piri Reis map in 2000 through the University of Oklahoma Press, argued that what Hapgood identified as Antarctica is more plausibly the southern coast of South America, distorted, compressed, and bent eastward due to the map's irregular projection and Piri Reis's habit of conflating multiple source charts. McIntosh's argument is serious. The southern edge of the map appears to be continuous with the South American coastline in ways that suggest the mapmaker ran out of source material and extended the landmass speculatively or accidentally merged two different charts. This is a real problem for Hapgood's thesis, and he never fully resolved it. But McIntosh's analysis doesn't close the case either. The specific correlation with sub-glacial topography, independently confirmed by the Air Force analysis and not fully addressed by the distortion argument, remains unexplained. If it's a distorted South America, why do interior features correspond to buried Antarctic mountain ranges? Dr. Stephen Dutch at the University of Wisconsin-Green Bay, a geologist who has written skeptically about the map, acknowledges the projection alignment is striking while arguing the overall accuracy is too inconsistent to imply a precise ancient survey. The accuracy is clustered, not uniform. That could mean selective distortion. It could mean fragmentary source data. The honest position, the one the data actually supports, is this. The Piri Reis map contains features in its southern quadrant that correlate meaningfully with sub-glacial Antarctic topography. The origin of that correlation is not fully explained by known 16th century cartographic sources, and the distortion hypothesis accounts for some, but not all of the anomalies. What we don't have is evidence of the civilization that would have mapped an ice-free Antarctica. No ruins, no tools, no genetic trace in the archaeological record that confirms a seafaring, geometry-capable culture operating during the last interglacial period, roughly 125,000 years ago, when that coastline would have been ice-free. The absence of evidence isn't proof of absence, but it is a weight on the scale. The map is real, the correlation is real, the explanation, that remains genuinely open. Here is what changed between the beginning of this story and now. At the start, this looked like a binary problem. Either someone mapped Antarctica before we thought possible, or the map was misread. But the actual state of research doesn't resolve cleanly into either answer. Cartographers dispute the interpretation, geophysicists confirm the subglacial correlation, historians cannot trace the Arabic source Piri Reis cited, the Air Force analysis has never been formally retracted. What we are left with is a document from 1513 that contains data whose origin no one has satisfactorily explained. The conspiracy version of this story invents a lost civilization and stops asking questions. The dismissal version waves at projection distortion and stops asking questions too. Both are a way of not sitting with what the map actually is, a problem that remains open. The question worth leaving with isn't whether a lost civilization existed. It's this. If Piri Reis compiled the map from older Arabic sources, where did those sources come from, and what else did they contain? Somewhere in an archive, that answer might still exist. And it wouldn't be the only document hiding something it shouldn't know.